Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Barry. This is the Sibling Trap podcast. I have my beautiful co-host Katrina on the other line. And today we're going to talk about some really, really cool stuff. Just a little precursor. I'm in a 5-day fast. I'm on day number 5. I haven't eaten solid food in 5 whole days. So I'm feeling great. Forgive me if my sentences don't really run together because between my brain and my thoughts and my mouth, like things are just kind of a little unaligned, but I feel really great actually. And Katie
Yeah,
isn't feeling really well, so a
yeah,
little bit under the weather.
a little bit. But we're
So,
here.
but we're here and we're dedicated to recording this stuff so you guys can listen to it. And this is actually a re-recording because I forgot to hit record on the last session that we recorded. And we're just here because we had such a beautiful conversation.
It
And
was such a good conversation.
I'm really excited to get back into it because I mean, yeah, we already talked about all this stuff, so it's just kind of like a refresher, but it's some really, really powerful information that I think everybody is definitely going to uh, appreciate and also align with. So, do you
I
want
think it's
to
really
start us
like,
off?
I think it's mostly about perspective, and it's like, how can we see things in a different way? I am completely sick, so I apologize. I'm sure I sound so sexy. You're welcome. But we're here, with my Up and Atom cup. We're just showing up for the day. Barry's got a Harry Potter mug.
Nerd
So
life.
apologies for the sniffles. Barry might not have full sentences sometimes, and anyway, we're here. We're alive. So, yeah, this is a re-recording. So this is gonna be fun to see. Did you take notes from last week? Because I wrote down a couple
I
of things.
I did. Yeah, I took a couple
Okay.
notes.
Okay. Last time I did not come to class prepared, so today is my moment of redemption. All right, so I saw something on TikTok it was like from a therapist, and she was explaining how the whole concept of like if he wanted to or if she wanted to, he or she would. And like,
Right.
is that actually possible? Is that so? She described, if you're not watching YouTube, this is like a really fancy Starbucks teacup thing. And some people are a teacup and some people are a venti cup, right? Like a much bigger cup. And let's say that you are the larger cup and you have a lot to give, right? So you are going to pour into the smaller cup all that you have to offer, and then it eventually overflows. And because you have so much love to give, right? But then when the person that has the teacup or a smaller cup tries to pour back into your cup, it's not going to fill your cup, which leaves you feeling depleted and
Empty.
resentful
Yeah.
and like, why can't you do what I did for you for me? Which I think kind of blew my mind. What are your thoughts on that?
It definitely blew my mind too because I never really looked at love in a measurement point of view like that. Like, how do you, and I've spent like the last week since our last recording just trying to wrap my brain around how do you measure love? You know, some people measure it in the things that they do for other people, or, like they measure it in how many hugs I get every day or how many
Yeah.
kisses I get every day. Some people measure it in different ways. And that was something that really blew my mind was realizing throughout my past relationships who were Fenty cups and who were teacups or shot glasses.
Yeah.
And it definitely makes sense because I feel like throughout history as well, my cup size has kind of changed. It's gone from, smaller cup to a bigger cup. I know we talked about like when you have kids, I feel like your cup kind of expands or grows
Yeah.
because you have to reserve a lot more space for love to give.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know having a child is super important, and they crave the attention, they crave the love, and you have to be there for them. So, and some people maybe haven't experienced the same thing. Maybe when they have kids, their cup remains the same. Maybe they already had a big cup, or maybe they're just that type of person where they're not super affectionate. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not trying to discredit or downgrade anybody. It's just something to look at and to think about for sure.
It's interesting that you brought up like how your size of your cup has changed over time. Like I know that could totally be like a circumstantial type of thing, whether like, me going through divorce, like my cup might feel smaller right now. And like when you were away in Iraq and Afghanistan, like you didn't really have the capacity to be, you know, checking in with people regularly, like pouring love into other people. Like it was really just survival. And you were like, my cup is tiny as fuck right now. And I know that's not a forever thing. Like this is temporary and I need to give myself grace, but also like giving other people grace, knowing that this isn't forever. But the fine
Right.
line of like not letting it go on too long without addressing it, I think is really important because then it just stirs more resentment.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And bringing up the points in life where your cup size might have been small. I mean, after breakups or, divorce, it's a very tough thing to deal with. And you're not ready to put yourself out there. You're not ready to give love to other people. And you shouldn't, if you're so quick to jump into giving somebody else love and attention, then I don't feel like that's a cup size relation. I feel like that's just you trying to fill your cup because your cup's constantly empty. And there's that saying, we talked about it already, that if your cup isn't full, how can you be expected to pour into somebody else's cup?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really bold to say that. And I'm not saying that you can't love people if you aren't loved, but I feel like, when you have two different cup sizes and you're the bigger cup and you have somebody pouring into you and they're not quite pouring into you enough, it's up to you to fill that void by loving yourself. And I'm so guilty of it. I'm not a very selfish person. I'm so selfless. I would much rather find my worth by helping other people and loving other people. So it's tough for me to say that, but sometimes you have to be selfish. You have to love yourself to fill that gap. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. I feel like a lot of people are just, and I've been guilty of it too, where you're just constantly pulling and pulling from your partner, like, please love me, and
Yeah.
it's stressful and it hurts. It does, because, you want them to love you on the same level, but not everybody has the same heart that you have. That's something that I've had to really, really figure out this year, is that not everybody's going to love on the same level that you do.
And I
And
think that,
sometimes,
go on.
well, sometimes it just, and it's not their fault. It's just that's their cup size. So,
Yeah. And, it's something that you have to kind of evaluate in life is like, am I okay with being with someone who only has the capacity to give me back a teacup? Like, is this a non-negotiable for me? Like, if this is how it's going to be forever, if this is how they've always been, then am I okay with that? Because if you're continually feeling disappointed and not like your needs are being met, then that might be something that you have to evaluate and be like, I need to go shopping for another cup,
right,
a bigger size
exactly.
cup. Yeah. Because you
And
like I think that for so long, like if you are not getting your needs met, you stop asking, and then it becomes a whole other wedge in your relationship, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I know I've experienced that. Have you?
yeah, I've yeah, I've experienced it. I think from my experience though, because I've been such a bigger cup, I feel like I'm overwhelming my partner.
Mm-hmm.
constantly overwhelming, and it
And
doesn't
not
feel
love
good.
bombing. Not
Yeah,
always love
not
bombing.
I wouldn't say it's love bombing after, a few years of being with somebody, and I feel like it would be more like constantly overwhelming them with a need for love, not like over loving them, but
Okay.
like constantly trying to extract the love out of them, like
You're asking too much.
yeah, asking for too much, asking for hugs all the time, asking for affection, asking to cuddle, asking, you know, hey, will you spend time with me instead of be on your phone for 3 fucking hours? Like it's just, and at that point, you're right. You need to go shopping for a new cup. You need to realize that that person just doesn't want to love you as much. And like you said in the last show, you know, if he wanted to, he would. Or if she wanted to, she would, and that's a really bold statement because if they're into you and if they care about you, they're going to want to meet your needs. They're going to want to try, at least try. And I
Yeah.
feel a lot of my previous relationships have been a lot of me begging for the bare fucking minimum. I hate saying that, but it's true. And the bare minimum should be your partner cares about you to the point where, yeah, they realize that they may not have the same capacity for love, but they understand your capacity for love. Like if it were reversed, the roles were switched. Let's say I had a teacup and my partner had a venti cup or a pint glass or whatever. I feel like I am intuitive enough that I would understand that I might be overwhelmed or I might be overstimulated, but my partner's needs definitely come before my own in a lot of situations. And I'm not saying all the time, and I'm not saying that that's healthy, but me personally, I feel like I put my partner's needs before my own all the time because I care about how they feel. I care about what they're going through, and I want to be there for them. I would absolutely, even if I'm not feeling it, I would still show them the love that they need. What do
I
you think?
think that even if you realize that you don't have the capacity, if you don't have the capacity to give back the same amount of love or the love that other people need, it's important to just be so self-aware. And when you're like, I feel like this is too much for me, like you need to express that. Communication is everything. And you owe it not only to your partner, but to yourself to live honestly. And like, I want to be able to give that to you, but I'm not capable of doing that. And if that's a deal breaker, like we need to address that
Right.
because, it's not fair to anyone to just like be like pretending like you're capable of doing this, even though you know damn well you can't meet that.
Right. And it's hurt. It's very hurtful. It is,
Yeah. But we don't
being
want to hurt
on one
anyone.
side. Right, exactly. And I don't think anybody goes into a relationship wanting to hurt the other person, but I feel like you're right. The communication is so important. If you don't communicate that, hey, I just don't have that much love to give, or, I'm just not a super affectionate person, you need to let somebody know because the other
Yeah.
person might be super affectionate and
And
want,
overthinking everything.
yeah, overthinking. I've wanted the attention, but I've been afraid to ask a lot of times. I mean, Katie, there's been times when I was like bawling my eyes out because I was so stressed out about life and I had
Yeah.
to hide. I would literally hide in the bathroom and cry because I didn't want to overstress or overstimulate my partner. And all I needed was a hug. All I needed
Yeah.
was somebody to, wrap me up in their arms and say, "Hey, everything's gonna be okay." I'm only fucking human. Yeah,
Hmm.
everybody has problems and everybody, makes mistakes, but I feel like if the cup size was more equal, that would have worked out. It would have worked out a lot better, at least a lot better. Now, we also talked about the flow, right? Not only the size of the cup, but the flow of the pour. And I mean, it could be tied into love bombing too, because like, even if, there's a shot glass, if it's getting thrown in your face really hard, it might feel
You'll feel
good.
it.
Yeah, you're gonna feel it.
Can't
Maybe
deny
not feel
that.
good, but but that's the thing.
It'll
It's
burn a
like
bit, yeah.
if it's a fire hose of love and you're not used to that, it can either be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. Like if you're, if you have a huge cup and you're super affectionate, if somebody's blasting you with love, you're gonna really enjoy that. And that's gonna really mess you up because I think it sets the bar for
Hmm.
how much and how often your love is being received. And
It's not sustainable.
it's not at all. I've looked back and I'm like, wow, there were times when it was like super apparent that this person loved me and loved me strongly and deeply. And then that same flow, just it wasn't consistent.
It was a drought.
And then there would be periods where it was like, man, I'm really having to pull to get a water hose or a
Yeah.
faucet size strength of love. And it's really not even about filling my cup. It was more about just receiving it at the same pace. I mean, if you're going to be all in with your partner, if you're going to give them as much love as you can give at a time, you should maintain that. That person is going to notice, they're going to feel when you're not giving it at the same rate. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, Katie, I know that people go through periods of depression. They, have stressful jobs, or maybe the kids are stressing them out, or maybe their schedule is just really, really busy. And I'm not saying that there aren't excuses. I'm just saying you should still try just as hard. And if you're not meeting that same pace, you should recognize it. And it's a communication thing. It sure is. You should be reassuring. You should say, hey, my life is really busy right now. It's not that I don't love you. It's just I'm distracted a lot, but I'm still here and I still love you just the same. You should be able
Yeah.
to say that.
Yeah, and it might even be like a beneficial thing to do weekly or daily with yourself or with your partner of like do a flow check. Like what are we capable of today or what are we capable of this week? Like how can we be intentional with our flow and, whether it's like scheduling a date night or, like going out for a hike
Right.
together or like so you're planning the flow, because
Quality time.
otherwise
Yeah.
it's like the ebbs and flows are really intense and not even an
Roller coaster.
intentional
Yeah.
way because it just sneaks up on you.
Right. I think some people have this mentality of you shouldn't have to plan out your love or your relationship. And
You
I
get
disagree
to.
with that. Yeah. I disagree with that. I don't think that you should just take things as they come. Like, yeah, it should be natural. It should feel natural, but it takes planning. It does. People are busy. We all have lives. We all have goals and ambitions and dreams, and we're all chasing something different. But you still have to meet in the middle, and that takes work. It does. You have to figure out times when you can spend that quality time together. You have to figure out, what the other person is doing and match that. I feel like a lot of times people get so wrapped up in what they're doing in their lives that they forget that their partner has needs too, or if they're just focusing strictly on their needs and not realizing that their partner is also needing stuff too. So
Yeah, I
I
think
think
that's
that plays
one
a big part in it.
one thing that like I want to do differently next time, whenever that is I just want to do like consistent check-ins. Like, how are you doing this month? Like, how are you overwhelmed? Like, how can I show up in a different way this month to support you? Like, how can we, make ourselves a priority as a couple, but then also individually? I
Right.
never, I never felt like I was, it sounds really dumb, but cherish. Like I want someone that wants to go
Yeah,
on a date with me. Like I want someone to like plan the date instead of like begging for someone to like take me on a date. Like I don't care if it's within
right.
walking distance, but if I have to plan something, then anyway, that's a whole other tangent. But it's just like it goes back to the effort and intentionality of your flow. And if someone is asking something of you, like you need to address that within yourself and then with them and like, am I capable of doing that? Do I feel like you are important enough to me to want to do that? That's a whole other question that you need to ask yourself. Because if there's someone that's like, you know what, I don't really feel like I want to do that for you, then that says a lot about your relationship and it needs to be addressed.
Absolutely. Wow.
I don't,
I mean,
sorry.
if we lived closer together, I would take you out to dinner because I care about you and
Thanks.
I want you to feel special. But, and that's
Yeah.
a funny thing that you say that because I feel like a lot of times as a man, we're expected to plan the dates, we're expected to make that kind of effort. And I would say the worst part about it is that I don't feel like I've been cherished either.
Yeah.
And it's not really a date perspective. It's more like I've done a lot for my partners in the past, and I've always tried to show up and I've always tried to help them, especially when they needed help. And I don't feel like I was appreciated on the level that somebody else might appreciate me.
Yeah.
If I drop what I'm doing to bring you something because you were in a rush to go to work and you barely show any appreciation for me doing that, I, you know, it's something so small and so little that it shouldn't matter, but it matters a lot to me because I'm putting your needs before my own. I'm putting you before me.
Mm-hmm.
And as selfish as it sounds, you know, a simple thank you or, you know, picking up my favorite food on the way home to say thank you, or just, you know,
Yeah.
little kinds of little shows of appreciation and gesture like that, it goes so far, so far. And I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like I haven't been in a relationship where people surprised me with things, you
Same.
know, and that's it. Like, and it's like a date, right? Like, surprise the person with, hey, you know, we just both got off work. Go get ready. We're going out to eat. I picked a restaurant for us to go to, and it's a surprise. Like you didn't plan it. You didn't tell your partner, hey, I'm planning us to go out on Thursday night. Just do it. You know, say, hey, go put on a really fancy dress, get your makeup done up, you know, do your hair. We're going out to eat tonight, and I'm taking you. And it's like surprising with food. Like I love food, and you know, I'm in a 5-day fast right now, and all I can think about is food.
Dreaming about it.
Dreaming, literally. Oh my God. I tortured myself yesterday by watching like recipes and stuff on
Oh my
YouTube.
gosh.
Yeah. I'm a masochist, we know. But it's stuff like that. Like, you know, like let's just say we don't want to cook dinner and on the way home you pick up my favorite meal from my, you know, favorite restaurant or something and you bring it home and surprise me with it. It's little things like that that you can really show your partner how much you cherish them, how much you appreciate them, and or just picking up little gifts. I'm a I spoil my partners. I am terrible at it. I shouldn't. I should be more selfish, but I am so selfless. Like I wouldn't say that giving gifts is like one of my love languages, but like it makes you feel good as a partner. Like, you know, seeing your partner light up because you got them a new bracelet or a new necklace or whatever, you know, like little things, like getting them a new candle. Like there were plenty of times where I've gotten my partners a candle. I was at Target, you know, picking up whatever, and I saw a candle and I was like, oh, she'll like that. And you
Yeah.
just surprise them with them, you know, with those things. And it's not love bombing. I feel like it's, you know, just
It's a
showing your
trickle
appreciation.
flow.
Yeah, sure. If you're doing it every day, then maybe, and it's early
Yeah.
in the relationship, then maybe it might be love bombing, but doing the little things, matters. It really does. And that helps fill up a cup. And it doesn't take a whole lot of your cup to do those little things.
No, and even like I don't even something as simple as like when you're out, in your day and you see something that reminds you of me, right? Like snapping a picture and be like, "Hey, I'm thinking of you today." Like that says so much to me or like,
That is incredibly powerful.
right? I
Yeah.
want to know that someone is thinking of me. Like yesterday, oh no, it was 2 days ago. Like I was starting to come down with this cold and someone had messaged me like, "Oh, you should go home and like have some tea. You should give yourself a massage, like pamper yourself tonight. Like what can you do?" And like just like checking in with me and I was like, "Oh, you know what? I should do that." And I'm like, it's been so long since someone even took the time to like ask me like how I'm feeling and like reminding me that I need to go take care of myself and not just take care of the kids. And it just feels so good to receive. And it's not love, it's just like care. Like someone actually
Here.
thinks
Yeah.
of me. It's like, oh, I think I messaged him the day after and I was like, I just want to say thank you because it's been a long time since I felt like someone cared enough to, even ask me, like, what are you doing for
Right.
yourself today? Because I do that for other people. Um, but
And
it's
and
nice.
it's supernatural for some people, you know, it's part of your everyday process as like a mentor and as like a
Yeah.
positive person. And not everybody's like that. And it's taken me a long time to figure out, and people really are different and they
Mm-hmm.
think differently and they act differently. And the whole, I hate it. I hate it so much, but I like hearing that I'm missed. I really,
100%.
I really, really, it means so much to me when somebody says, I miss you. Just 3 words. It might even be more powerful than somebody saying, I love you, because at least I know that they're thinking about me and that
Mm-hmm.
there's an empty place in their heart or in their life at that moment. And it might be a short term thing. It might be because I'm at work, or it might be because I'm busy, or it might be because I'm in the other room and I'm, playing video games or something. And they come in and they kiss me and they say, I miss you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, it's so powerful to me. And I haven't heard that in so fucking long
Yeah.
that it's just been very eye-opening, because when you wake up every day and you know that you're not missed by anybody, it does kind of make you feel alone.
I
I
miss you.
know, I know,
I know, I know, I know.
but it's just
I
being
know.
on that level with somebody is super, super passionate. And as much as I miss being missed, I've missed myself. And
Same.
that's really
Mm-hmm.
something that's been another eye-opening experience, is that I was not myself for so long, Katie, that I realized that I missed myself. I missed who I was. I missed being independent. I missed having time to myself. And I don't think I'll ever lose that ever again. No matter how deep I get with somebody, I will never ever miss myself ever again. Not like that. So yeah.
That's pretty powerful. I think I don't know if I can say that I miss who I was because I mean it's been 10 years. I'm clearly not the same person. So it's like I can't miss someone that I'm not
Yeah.
anymore. So it's really like it's a beautiful moment, but also a terrifying moment of like, okay, but like everything has changed. Who do you want to become?
Right.
You can't like go back to your old neighborhood. You can't go back to your old friends because I mean I was in a different state, literally.
Well,
Um,
maybe it's not that I missed myself, but I missed knowing myself on
yeah.
that level. And you're right. I have changed a lot. I've moved. I don't have a lot of the same friends anymore. I don't do a lot of the same activities, and I don't miss any of that. What I missed the most was being one with myself, and like not necessarily selfish, but putting my needs first and
Yeah.
putting me first, and realizing that along the way I lost myself. I sure did.
Mm-hmm.
And I, in the refinding of myself, I realized that I missed being genuine, being who I was. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
missed, is just being me.
And not feeling ashamed for being who you are.
Absolutely.
Because if you have to hide in the bathroom to cry so you don't stress out your partner, I don't want that for you again.
I don't either. That was powerful and eye-opening.
Yeah. If you're asking for too much, then you're asking the wrong person. That's all.
Different cup
Mm-hmm.
sizes, it
Yeah.
it's crazy. And I spent the last week wrapping my brain around the theory of different cup sizes, and the flow and everything. It's such a powerful way of thinking. And I hope it helps everybody that's listening. I hope you can understand how important it is to communicate with your partner, and to realize that you may need more love than they do, or that they can
Mm-hmm.
give. That is, I wish I'd known this, 5 years ago.
But like you can't even like it's a point that you have to kind of remind yourself and just be maybe gentle with someone else because it's not their fault that they're a teacup. And like I know that we had talked about this is like you don't really know the size comparisons once you're kind of in it already. And you have to evaluate like this isn't the right flow for me. This isn't the right cup size for me. This is overwhelming. So it's kind of like it's not his fault that he's a teacup. It's just I'm a venti. I'm a fucking venti, okay? And I deserve another venti. And that's
Absolutely.
okay. But, you have to kind of address it all and not brush it under the rug and be like, oh, it'll be fine. We'll work it out. It doesn't.
It's just, and it is really just relationship awareness. You're right. You
Hmm.
have to realize that your partner may not be on the same level as you. And I'm not saying that you can't continue your relationship and that maybe his cup won't ever grow.
You can't expect that.
But yeah, you can't expect that. And like I said, too, you have to either figure out if you can fill that void yourself, or if you might need another cup. And that kind of
Hmm.
sucks. And it's hard. It's a hard truth that you have to face. But it's also the same thing with, like everybody says red flags. You look at people and you see red flags, and you have to choose whether or not you can live with those flaws. Everybody has flaws.
Yeah.
Everybody is going to make mistakes. It's just really up to you whether or not you can live with them, and understand. Really, that's really the big thing, is understanding that person and their flaws. And some people might look at your flaws and think, oh, that's not that big of a deal. That's something that I could deal with. That's something that I can live with. And then another person might be like, oh, well, that's a deal breaker. I can't be with somebody like that. So, and it's all about realization. That's really what
Hmm.
it is. And
Yeah. Like thinking of
understanding.
like the flaws as like cracks in the cup. It's like which ones are just like little nicks or chips and like which ones are like full on cracks. Like this could break at any minute.
Right. Or like it's constantly leaking the love that you're giving, or it might be like a dam strength just flowing right out,
Yeah.
big hole in their cup.
So
That's a
even
good
if it's
point
like
to bring
a
up,
shiny
for
cup like
sure.
mine, it's like there could be the biggest crack. You have to not
Yeah.
have shiny object syndrome and like stare at the beautifulness and just be like, damn, you're a really handsome guy, but like this is fucked. We're going nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And cracks can be a problem, for sure. And it's a little bit of self-awareness. You might have to look at your own cup and be like, oh,
Hell yeah.
damn, I have some cracks and I need to glue them motherfuckers up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the cool thing about it. I don't know if you're familiar with like this Japanese technique where
Yeah.
they take gold filigree and they fill in the cracks, and it
Hmm.
makes the cup even more beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you're damaged and you have these cracks, but you filled them with gold, and now you're like solid, you're complete again. Dude, that's so powerful. Like I just put that together and I was like, wow, you could be a beautiful cup with cracks, as long
So
as
how
you're
does
not leaking.
one, like metaphorically, how does one access the gold? Like, is it on you, or do you find someone that like has a cup and some gold? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, but that's the thing. I feel like, and this is a really powerful moment for self-reflection and
mhm,
self-work. You know, I've spent the last 6 months pretty much alone and just focusing on me and focusing on not necessarily like fixing my flaws, but being aware of them and trying to become a better person. And I feel like that's me fixing my own cup and me putting that gold in myself, because I'm trying to attract the partner that I want for the future healed version of me, right? We've talked about this before.
mhm,
And that it's blowing my mind because it makes so much more sense to me now. Like, if you're spending the time to fill those cracks in and make yourself a more beautiful cup, somebody's going to look at you and say, oh, wow, this cup's cracked all over the place, but it's filled with gold in those cracks.
mhm.
And I don't know. It's blowing my
Maybe what if the gold is like your next level self-love? Like you're pouring that much more love into yourself to become that beautiful cup that, might be flawed, but is like a whole other beauty.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes right into the whole law of attraction
Hmm.
perspective and mentality. And I'm here for it. I'm doing the work because I want to attract a partner that's good for me, not for who I was
Right.
and not for who I might be right now, but who I want to be in the future, like my better version, like the best version of myself. I want to attract a partner for the best version of myself because that's what I deserve. Everybody deserves the best version of themselves and the partner that's going to reflect that and also appreciate you in that sense. So, wow.
Um, that brings up a really good thought that I had. Kind of an annoying thought, but do you remember? I swear to God, this happened. I swear to Taylor Swift, this happened. Um, back in like I think February, March, like I sat down, I wrote down like all of the things that I wanted in a partner, and I sent it to you, right? I can't fucking find it anywhere. I can't find it anywhere. But here's what I was thinking about that.
You texted it to me, I'm pretty sure.
I looked through everything and I couldn't find it, but
Uh,
it's just the universe telling me I need to make another one, right? Um,
Rescript.
right? Yeah. So I saw a TikTok recently where, I've heard this before. It's like you need to find what you're looking for in a partner, like you need to become, right? So she had said like sit down and like write about like, someone who, works on their mental health, someone who wants more out of their job, someone who, prioritizes nature, whatever it is, like writing all that stuff down, but then not only like focusing on becoming it, but she said to post it like in your bathroom or like in your kitchen. So like you can reflect every day of like, how can I become this person today? But then also like you're looking at it in such an awareness, whatever type of mental state that like anyone that's in your life, you're like, wow, he is actually that. Or like, my best friends are really good at this. And I never thought to put it somewhere to look at every day. I think that's like a whole game changer for me.
Yeah. So I had a friend tell me to put like your affirmations, like when you make a
Yeah.
burn list for the moon
Hmm.
and you burn it, those are all like the bad things. We've
Hmm.
talked about this before, but like all the positive things that I want to be, I
Hmm.
is on my mirror. I write them out on a sticky note and I put it on my mirror. I mean, there's 3 on my mirror right now,
Oh,
actually.
you do
But
it? Good job.
yeah, I do that. I don't do it for who I want as a partner, so that's definitely something I'm maybe gonna do. That's
Mm.
interesting to think because at least it gives you something to look at like visually that you can like check people against. It's kind of like a checklist for different people. And if you're thinking about that person and you look at that list and they're not meeting all those needs, you literally can see it, but
Well, and
that's,
it's
yeah, I mean, that's kind of ties into what I do, but I do that for myself. It's like every day, like
Mhm.
there's just one worded aspects or qualities that I'm looking for in myself every day. So like I look at that list and I'm thinking like, how am I determined today? How am I authentic today? How am I genuine? How am I generous? How am I, and how am I loving? Like there's just all these terms that I've written out that I want myself to reflect on and realize that I have to do those every day to be who I want to be.
Yeah, it's the same thing though, because it's like not only is it a checklist for other people, but it's like you have to become the person that you want to attract, right?
Right.
So it's like you can't expect to attract someone who is on their healing journey if like you're not facing your own shit too. Like
Right.
it's for
Absolutely.
self accountability. Um, I wonder
I'm
how that
gonna
would
do
trigger
that.
people if I like posted in my house. What do
Ugh.
you mean? What is this, Mom? What does this mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an idea. I might try that out and see, put it next to my version of me and my version of who I want as a partner.
Yeah, just a little bit more detailed. I'm
Yeah.
trying to see if I had another notes. Dang it, I feel like we touched on more, but I only wrote them down like in passing.
Yeah. We already hit all my notes, but there's one thing that I want to say that I think would be really powerful to our listeners is think about the cup sizes of you and your partner, but also remind yourself that how you feel is important too. Like it's not about giving love all the time, it's about receiving love. And you have to think about yourself. And I hate being selfish because I'm such a selfless person. But if your cup is not being filled, you have to identify that because you're going to build resentment. It's going to create toxicity in your relationship. It's going to make the other person pull away from you, or like you're pushing them away because you're constantly asking for what you feel is the bare minimum. And it's powerful because you have to put yourself first in a lot of, aspects of relationship. And if you don't, you're either settling, which we agreed we're never going to do,
Yep.
or and it's not really just settling, it's just accepting less than what you deserve. And you have to be able to see that. You have to be able to recognize it.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I hear that. And I don't like talking shit, but I think it's just speaking my truth. So I'm just gonna say it anyway. There were um there were times because I've documented so much through this divorce and like things that were said to me, things that I felt about things that were said to me. And um there were times when it was said to me like, "Oh, you're just gonna go and find someone who like kisses the ground that you walk on, who's obsessed with you and like thinks that you do no wrong." And I'm like, "Listen, I know full damn well that I make mistakes, but also I want someone who is obsessed with me, who is like excited to wake up and love me every day. And like, if you're not capable of doing that, then like that's okay. Let's stop wasting time because there is someone out there. And um, to belittle the fact that I want someone who, is slightly obsessed with me is just kind of shitty. And I don't
Here's
think
the
that we
only
should,
thing I'll say is, why do you don't deserve that? Why don't you deserve that?
yeah. Why does anyone not deserve that? Like, I want that for him too. Yeah.
No,
I mean,
and I've gotten that same comment, Katie.
mhm.
Oh, you need somebody who's obsessed with you. You need somebody who isn't so in love with themselves. And that it's a backhanded recommendation. It really is. It's like saying, hey, you don't deserve what I have to give, but maybe you deserve somebody else, and or maybe it's not even that. It's kind of hard to wrap my mind around because I'm like, everybody deserves somebody who wants to spend that time, who wants to make the effort. It's all
Yeah.
about effort. And if you're not putting in effort at the same pace as your partner, then they deserve so much better than you,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. And I hate saying that because it sounds so degrading, but it's the truth. If you're not putting in effort every day with your person, you don't deserve them. You don't deserve them one bit. Because if they're,
Yeah.
I mean, unless they're not putting in the same amount of effort, if you're like both kind of not caring about each other, then whatever. But I
Yeah.
feel like if somebody is putting in the effort for you every day and you're not meeting that same level of effort,
Like
you
the
need
cup
to,
is
you need
dry
to, yeah,
and
you
that
need to
person's
think
gonna go
about
find water.
absolutely. And I feel like that there's a lot of issues in our society today with cheating because people feel like they're not getting the right amount of effort, and that sucks and it
Nobody wants to
hurts.
talk.
Yeah, and nobody wants to recognize. Nobody wants to do that self-awareness, thought. They don't want to think about, oh, well, maybe I'm not doing enough for this person. And I've done it. I've done it several times. I've been like, well, maybe they're acting this way because I'm not doing enough, or maybe I'm not putting in the amount of effort. And I step up my effort. I put more in. And it's always worse because
Too
I
much
the
for
more I
them.
yeah, the more I put in, the less they want from me and the more they pull away. And I'm like, well, fuck, I thought it was me. But really, honestly, it was them. And it's tough to realize that, but that's the problem. I feel like a
Hmm.
lot of people have is that either they're getting attention from somebody else or some like other people or like social media
I
is
know.
so guilty. It's like, yo, like, oh, I'm on social media and I got 200 likes today, so my cup's already full, but my partner is trying to fill me with, their love, and it's like, oh well, I'm already full, so don't, now you're overflowing, and that's something we talked about. It's like
Yeah.
you might be overflowing your partner's cup and you're not really realizing it because their cup might already be full, but and that's an issue that I think a lot of people don't recognize is that, you know, yes, people can get overstimulated. Yes, people can be overflowed with love and attention. And some people pull away from that. But I feel like if you're not giving your partner the same level of attention or effort, then you really need to do some self reflection, you know?
100%. And social media is such a good thing to bring up because I think I sent this, I don't know, we send each other so many videos. And I'm like, wait, did I
We
send
do.
this to you? Sometimes it's the same ones that I saw. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that video. But it's like how you show up on social media, I think really affects your relationships. Because
Boom.
I mean, but it's interesting like for me to say that because I've always shared my life. I've always like been someone who shares the day to day, but I also like don't get wrapped up in the numbers of things. Like I just do it because I want connection with other people and like let them know that they're not alone, right? It's not like I'm seeking attention from the people that would be problematic for my relationship. But
Right.
if something is going wrong in your relationship, like what do? You start scrolling on social media and then, someone slips into your DMs and it's really a moment that could become catastrophic for the cups for both of you,
Absolutely.
and it's dangerous.
It is. It's absolutely dangerous. And it's not just social media, it's other people in that person's life, like work friends,
Yeah.
you know. And it hurts. It really does hurt to think about because you're like, well, I spent all this time putting in the effort for this person and they're giving
The attention
they're
away.
giving attention and effort to somebody else.
Mm,
And wow, it hurts to think about. It really does. Because I
yeah.
know for a fact that there were several times, like the specific person I would say, hey, I noticed, you're texting that guy a lot or whatever. And they're like, oh, well, he's just a friend or whatever, that statement. And it's like, okay, well, I get that he's just a friend, but like I need attention and you're not giving me any attention, but he's getting attention. It doesn't matter if he's just a friend or not. It's about the effort. Like you're
Red
putting
flag.
in the effort with this other person. But you're not putting in the effort with me. There's a huge problem there. Huge
Hmm.
problem, huge red flag. And
Yeah.
that is painful to think about.
You don't feel special to that person anymore.
Right.
Which, if
Right.
that's your person, that's a problem.
Yeah. And it's about worth, and it's not self-worth at that point. It's about your worth to that person. If you're not worth the same amount of effort that they're putting in with other people, then it's over. It's done. You need to wake up. You need to move on because,
Yeah.
and that's it. People will make time for the people that matter. They always do.
Hmm.
But when they're not making that time for you, that means, you know, that's how they really feel about you. You're not worth the time. So,
And I feel like some of this can be situational too. Like, because I don't know. I guess one mistake that I've made, I wouldn't say it's a mistake. It's just like, hindsight. Um, because I was so motivated. It's funny. Because I was so motivated to retire my husband by building a business and, something that was sustainable so he didn't have to work a long job.
right.
Um, I,
Self-sufficient. Yeah.
yeah, I did neglect a lot of times the time that we had together. So I think it's just becoming aware of like where your energy's going every day and having those conversations with each other of like, I can tell that like you're really excited about this. Like, how can we make us a priority, right? Instead of like building resentment, like, oh, like she doesn't focus on me and da 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 da. And like, I laughed because it's kind of funny because building my business didn't retire him in the way that I thought it would, but it also did retire him as my husband. I was like, did I achieve my goal? I don't.
You
Anyway,
did.
I know.
Just happen differently.
Oh man. Um, yeah, but it's situational, right? It's like even if that person, might be a little bit thrown into work, like let's just communicate. Oh my God, when I meet a good communicator, I might like text you and be like, Barry, holy shit, it exists.
Yeah.
That'd be so
That's
nice.
communication is everything. And we've touched on that so much throughout
That's the
every
biggest
episode.
crack.
It is.
Yeah.
And being with people that have literally been the exact opposite, that have not communicated, have not, like every time I'd be like, hey, can we just talk about this? Please, can we just please talk about this? They'd be like, no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to deal with it. They shut down, and it's like, yo, I will never, ever put myself through that ever again. If anybody ever says, oh, I don't want to talk about that, or I don't feel like we need to talk about it, and I'm like, I'm a run. I'm running for the hills, Katie.
Yeah.
I'm
You
packing my
you
shit
text
and I'm
me.
getting the fuck out. Yeah, no. Because it hurts so bad because it's like, yo, like I just want to have a conversation about this. I just want to know how you feel. Like, and it's not even about me. It's about you. And I'm like, yo, I want to know your thoughts. I want to know how you feel about this stuff because it matters to me. I'm a huge empath. How somebody else feels means just as much to me as how I feel.
Mm,
And if they're not mature enough to understand that, then they're
they're
not
not for you.
for me. They're not for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's something that I had to learn the hard way. And that now is so important. It's like number one on my list of values for my partner. Like
Hmm.
if I script it out and I actually do what we talked about, that will be number one. Communication.
Mm,
Solid communication because
Yeah.
I can't live without it.
Yeah.
I just can't.
I mean, you can clearly live without it. It's just like you don't want to be that type of way anymore. No.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean that's who I used to be. Who I want to be is somebody that is comfortable in communicating with my partner
Yeah.
and then be the same way with me. Like we
Hmm.
have to be able to talk. Because if we can't talk, then it's just there's no point. Because it's
Yeah.
going to lead resentment right into our relationship. It's going to lead overthinking. It's going to lead questioning everything we do. And it is so toxic. I just won't do it ever again. It is, I hate it.
It's
It
gonna
burns a
lead to
hole inside
like
of me.
it's gonna lead to a conversation 8 years down the line saying, I haven't felt loved since we were dating because you don't communicate.
It's so painful. So
Uh,
painful.
and you can't be mad at your partner because they don't know because you never speak up. Like it's on you, dude, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think that wraps up today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to everyone. If you celebrate, this will go up the day after Christmas. So I hope you had a lovely weekend with your family. Any plans for Christmas?
Sadly, I'm gonna be alone for Christmas. So, but it's
Okay.
okay. I got a lot of stuff planned for myself, you know.
What are you gonna do?
I mean, not a whole lot's gonna be open, but I don't know,
Yeah.
make some really, really good food. I'm gonna cook some new recipes that I've kind of looked at, during my fast because I'm
Mm-hmm.
crazy, insane. I'm going to meditate. I have like a seriously long meditation planned. I'm going to do like 2 or 3 hours and see where I end up at the end of it. I might,
Okay.
and I'm not running on Christmas, but Christmas Eve, I'm going to try to do a 20-mile run. So Christmas Day, I'll probably be relaxing and just spending that time to recover. So,
That's good. What's your favorite Christmas
and then,
movie?
ooh,
Sorry. I just thought of that. Are you gonna watch a
no,
movie?
that's okay. It's a good thought. I would say, I mean, I'm super weird, but I like the Will Ferrell Elf movie because it makes me laugh, and I like being. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like a real big Christmas person, but it's my favorite holiday for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the Marine Corps birthday is definitely my favorite, but
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot of people celebrate that holiday, but in
A
my
little
house,
biased.
it's a fucking holiday. So,
Yeah. I love
but
that one.
Christmas is my favorite actual holiday. Elf is definitely my favorite movie just because it's so funny and it still, resembles that Christmas spirit. But,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would say my set, maybe it's tied with The Nightmare Before Christmas because I like that movie too. And
Mm-hmm.
then, I mean, some people are like, that's not a Christmas movie. And I'm like, bullshit. It's a Christmas movie. So, yeah.
You should go see some Christmas lights somewhere. Get yourself a cup of hot
It's
cocoa.
funny that you say that because because I won't have my kid this weekend. Um, he's with his mom. I wanted to go see some lights and I had planned
Hmm.
that with somebody else and it kind of fell through. But now I'm looking at it like I should treat myself. You're right.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a friend of mine and I told her, "Oh yeah, I want to do that, but I don't want to be the creepy guy by himself walking around, with nobody with me. It
Put an
sucks.
elf
It's
hat on or
sad. It's super
something.
sad. Yeah, or maybe a Santa hat or something. Just look like
Yeah.
I'm in the spirit, but
Right.
yeah, as much as I want to be like, self-loving and do that, I'm worried about what other people are gonna think, but
I
whatever.
dare you to do it and take a picture. Show me. Because it's
Okay.
like you're letting yourself like not do the thing that you really want to do because of what other people might think.
I know it's dumb to think. I
No, it's just you
just,
got to hear yourself say it out loud.
yeah. And it's the same thing where like I have this tendency of not wanting to go out to eat by myself because I don't want to be judged by people like, oh, look at that guy, he's sitting alone, eating alone.
It's empowering.
I know it is. I've done it. I've done it a lot in the last, few months. It makes me almost cry thinking about it because I'm like, man, I am really alone, and I'm okay with that. I really am.
Mm-hmm.
And if
You
those
feel
kind
it
of
more.
people are going to judge me anyway, they're going to judge me whether I have friends or not. So,
Yeah.
a lot of times I'll just get takeout and come home and sit in the comfort of my own home. So,
Maybe we could have a sibling date in the sense of like we both go out to eat at the same time.
we like
Definitely
FaceTime each other.
take a picture and be like, okay, so you don't feel as alone. You know, you don't have to FaceTime, but like just doing the thing at the same time. Yeah,
Yeah, I got you.
that'd be cool.
Well, maybe I'll
Anyways,
see some lights, get some
please
hot
do.
cocoa in me. But
I'm excited for you. Yeah.
what
All
about
right.
you? What are you doing? You got the kiddos, obviously.
Um, yeah, I have off Christmas Day. I work Christmas
Nice.
Eve. I
I'm
know.
also off.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon's like, we're shutting down the whole building. It's
Yeah.
fine. I'm like, oh, you just don't want to pay
No
people.
packages.
And then yeah, we're having a Christmas baking day on Saturday, the 23rd, which we never do. I'm like, I want to be this person. I want to be the person that bakes cookies. I don't want to be the person that eats all the cookies. So this is going to be a really good like test for
Let
myself.
let the kids overdo it.
Oh my God, they would eat the entire tin in a day. Like they are me. They don't have self-control.
No self-control.
No, that's why I don't buy Oreos. Like I don't buy stuff in the house because I can't control myself.
Yeah,
Um, but
I
other
feel
than
that.
that, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We have some stuff planned like after Christmas, like going to the zoo to like see the lights, and then taking them to do like an immersion museum or something where it's like deep water, like deep lake immersion. So you can like
Hmm.
see what it looks like. I don't even know. I've never been there, but so I have surprises, but actual
That
day of
sounds fun.
Christmas, nothing. But
Open
I hope you have
presents,
fun.
sit around.
Yeah, it'll be grand.
Cool.
Well, thanks
Well,
for listening, everyone.
yeah, absolutely, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. And we always appreciate feedback. So hit us up, feedback at thesiblingtrap.com or Instagram, Facebook,
Hmm.
TikTok.
Yeah, and if
But
you're on
but
YouTube,
yeah,
click
guys,
the subscribe button so you can see these in your feed every week.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Peace.
Bye.
Love y'all. Bye.
Love you.